Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Sports Talk with Austin, your daily dose of sports and entertainment. And in today's video, I will be talking about the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles record prediction. Can the Eagles repeat as Super Bowl champions? We're going to go game by game. I'm going to give you a record prediction of what I think the Eagles record will be, give you my ceiling, give you my floor, and give you my predictions. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss another great video. Really helps out the algorithm. And let's get right into it. The 2025 Philadelphia Eagles. Uh, they're coming off a Super Bowl win over the Kansas City Chiefs in dominating fashion. Their second Super Bowl within the last 6 years. Their most recent one before this one was in 2017 with Nick Foles and the magic carpet ride that was. And as we know, being the defending Super Bowl champions, it only gets harder the next year because it's harder to keep a team intact, whether it's free agencies, injuries, or what have you. And sometimes you take steps back, unless you're Bill Belichick and the Tom Brady dynasty, or you're Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. But even then, they've had their setbacks. But Philadelphia going into this year, they've got about 85-90% of their roster still intact. Saquon is still going to be a part of the roster. He's still going to be a monster, and it's going to be a force to be reckoned with still in Philly and Jalen Hurts in that run game with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. So Philly's going to have some players to play. Their defense, they had a couple pieces leave. C.J. Gardner-Johnson got traded. Fletcher Cox retired. So the Eagles are definitely weren't able to keep all the team together, but they are still a really loaded roster and have a chance to repeat as Super Bowl champions. And let's break it down, shall we? With the opening Thursday night game at home versus the Dallas Cowboys boys on the opening Thursday night on NBC at 8:20. And this is a classic rivalry. It's one of those games that always normally delivers, and it's kicking off the 20th season of Sunday Night Football, kicking off the 20th season on NBC. I think in this game, Cowboys, they've got a new look. What are they looking like? They traded for George Pickens in the offseason. Dak Prescott's coming back and healthy again. The defense, the defense for the Cowboys, a lot of interesting things going on over there. But the Eagles, I think, will start out 1-0. I think they will beat the Cowboys at home. I think it'll be a Eagles victory to start out at 1-0. I think they may start this game a little rusty, but I think in the end they will get the W. Then week 2, they go at the Kansas City Chiefs, an early season Super Bowl rematch, and they're going to Arrowhead to kick off. They're going to Arrowhead, and I have this game being a loss. So the Eagles start 1-1. I think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in September rarely ever lose. It's at Arrowhead. The Chiefs are going to be out for vengeance to get back that win they had in the Super Bowl. And I feel like the Chiefs just hardly ever lose in September. But and I think the Eagles, after coming off a physical game with the Cowboys, I think going to Arrowhead after an emotional win, opening night win, maybe a little too much to ask. Then they got Sunday, September 21st at home versus the Rams. I got this being a win. So I got the Eagles at 2-1. Don't get me wrong, I like what the Rams are doing. Sean McVay and company, but there's a lot of question marks. They recently let Cooper Kupp go walk to Seattle. Stafford, is not getting any younger. And I know this was the team that took them to their limits in the divisional round, but the Rams' run defense, it's been questionable throughout the season last year, and even in the Philly game on the Sunday night, Saquon had him a field day, and I know in the playoffs it was snowy and rainy and all those conditions played a big factor to the Eagles winning that game, in my opinion. I think the Rams will keep it close, but I do think the Eagles squeak it out and get a W and go to 2-1. Now on to week 4. You got at Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay, another team that beat Philly last year, one of their only 3 losses. And this is at Tampa. Buccaneers at home. They just gave Baker a nice big extension. The defense for Tampa starting to get healthy. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin going to be back and healthy again. I think the Buccaneers' run defense will pose a problem, but I have the Eagles eking this one out in Tampa to go to 3-1. Then we go on to Week 5, October 5th versus the Broncos. Give me the Eagles to go to 4-1. I think the Broncos, they're developing. They're young, Sean Payton, Bo Nix, and company. They're building a really good roster, but they're still a very young team and putting pieces together. I think the Eagles are a little more experienced and ready to go. Give me the Eagles to go 4-1 on the season. So week 6 on a Thursday night on Amazon Prime at the New York Giants. Give me the Eagles to win this game and to go to 5-1. I like what the Giants are doing. Don't get me wrong. I think Brian Daboll is an excellent head coach, but New York, they're building something on the D line over there, but their quarterback room is in turmoil. They have a nice little running back, and their receiving core is lack to be desired. I know it's at MetLife. It's a rivalry game. A lot can happen, but I still think the Eagles win this game. I think they go to 5-1. Now on to Week 7 at the Minnesota Vikings on Fox, and this is where I I think this game here could be something to watch for. JJ McCarthy is expected to be the Vikings starting quarterback after tearing his ACL. The Vikings are coming off a 14-3 season, and the Vikings bring back virtually almost everybody from last year's their 14-3 roster that almost won the division. But had the Vikings fixed the O-line issues? I know Philly's lost a lot on the D-line, but Philly always regenerates the D-line, and they've drafted a lot of great players out of Georgia, Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean. I think this is going to be a fun game, but I'm going to say the Eagles go on the road to Minneapolis and get it done and improve to 6-1 on the season. I think Jalen Hurts and his experience wins out at the end. Week 8 at home versus the New York Giants, I got the Eagles at 7-1. I think even though coming off a tough, rugged game against a very hard-nosed Minnesota team, I still think the Giants are building something, like I said before. But if Jackson Dart is starting by this point, or whoever the quarterback may be, I still think the Giants do not have enough pieces. I think it's always a fun game because it's a divisional game. But give me the Eagles to go to 7-1, and then they get a bye week, so they get a bye week after that. Rest of week 10, they go at the Green Bay Packers on ABC on Monday Night Football, late in Lambeau. The Packers just released Jair Alexander, so A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith against the young Packers secondary. The Packers' run defense has been known to go get a little ugly on them sometimes. Give me the Eagles to go to Lambeau and win this game and to go to 8-1. One. Now, week 11. Week 11 versus the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football in Philly. Detroit, they're another team with Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson out for new head coaching jobs. What are they looking like? Jared Goff, the Sonic and Knuckles, Montgomery and Gibbs. Gibbs with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I still think the Lions offense is going to be really solid. But with the loss of Ben Johnson, I think the Lions may take a regression year. The defense without Aaron Glenn, I think the Lions are going to get healthy with Hutchinson and Anzalone and Kirby Joseph. But without Aaron Glenn, I think the Lions are due for a step back on that end as well. But I do have the Detroit Lions winning this game, though. I do think they match up well with Philly, even though I do think they will take a step back. I think Philly's been on a roll. They played a lot of tough road games in there, and they've been pulling them out. I think Detroit squeaks one out and gets a W in Philly, surprising a lot of people. Therefore, I have the Eagles losing this game. Then we got at the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, November 25th on Fox, America's Game of the Week. Eagles coming off a tough loss, a tough loss to the Lions at home. I think this is another one of them games. I think the Cowboys win. I think the Eagles suffer 2 straight losses. Cowboys Eagles normally split. I think in Dallas, home field advantage. Cowboys are going to be feeling themselves, maybe in position to win the division. Division could be something to look out for. Then we have the Black Friday game against the Chicago Bears, and this is where the 2-game losing streak ends. I've got the Philadelphia Eagles pulling out this win at home. I like Caleb Williams. I think Ben Johnson's going to do a marvelous job with the Chicago Bears, but I still think the O-line, it's been the Bears' biggest downfall. I still think that the Bears are a couple more years away, even though they've added a lot of pieces. But give me the Eagles to get this W. Then at the Chargers on Monday Night Football, December 8th, West Coast time. I know sometimes that doesn't affect East Coast teams, but the Chargers, I think this could be a really fun, entertaining game. Justin Herbert and McConkey, Jim Harbaugh style. I think it's going to be smash mouth, ugly, in your face. I like this game. I'm looking forward to it, but I do think the Eagles will pull it out in the end and get the W. I do think the Eagles have just a bit of a better passing game, a little less question marks on their defense. Give me the Eagles to pull off this W. Then we've got versus the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Eagles will pull that one out at home. Pete Carroll and company, I think they're year one with Geno Smith and Ashton Genty. And I know they have a nice little defense building, but I do think that the Raiders might give some teams run for the money, but I still think they're a couple years away. I think they're building nice pieces. I think Pete Carroll's bringing them back, but give me the Eagles to win this game. And then this is the really, really tough stretch. I think where I don't feel sorry to be an Eagles fan right about now. You've got at the Washington Commanders, then you got at the Bills, and then versus the Commanders to end the year. But at Washington, Jaden Daniels and company. I mean, what an out of nowhere surprise leap they made all the way to the NFC Championship game before losing to the Eagles. Now they've traded for Deebo Samuel from the San Francisco 49ers to add to already what was a scary, scary wide receiver duo, Terry McLaurin with Deebo and a nice running game and Jaden Daniels. Washington, I think the Commanders get it done. I think the Commanders get it done. I have the Eagles losing this game. I think the Eagles go on the road to Washington and lose this game as now. Then they go at Buffalo, and this is where it could get a little dicey. Josh Allen, they couldn't, and it could be an MVP conversation. Could be fighting for the number one seed in the AFC. See, this is interesting. Week 17, Sunday, December 28th at Buffalo. I've got this as another loss for the Eagles. I think Josh Allen and the Bills pulled out. And then week 18, to be determined, depending on what the meaning of this game is. But I think the Eagles, split with the Commanders at home. I think they get it done. I got the Eagles winning this game. And with that, I have the Eagles at a 12-5 record as my prediction. I think they take a little step back this year, but I still think they're going to be one of, if not the contender in the NFC East, in my opinion. My prediction is 12-5 for Philly. I think their ceiling could be 13-4. I think you could flip the Cowboys game and they could sweep. Normally that doesn't happen. I think they could easily win the Detroit game. I think 13-4 is their ceiling. I predict 12-5. I think their floor is 11-6 because I could see them easily going to Tampa and losing. I could see the Vikings game going in Minneapolis. I could see the Rams, even though it's at home. But that's where I kind of stand. I think my prediction's 12-5. The ceiling is 13-4, and my floor is 11-6, in my opinion. But that was my 2025 Philadelphia Eagles record prediction. Let me know in the comments what you think of that record prediction. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bells, and I will see you in the next video. Go Cards, everybody.